So I call this lecture honorable mentions, but it's more like things that we see in the crypto world and how we should view these things. All right. So basically I put on 3 coins there that I wanted, that all showcase something that happens in the crypto world that you want to be aware of. Okay. One of them is good, 2 of them are really bad. So the first one, Steemit. Now Steemit is basically one of the resources we showed in the previous lecture. So Steemit is basically a platform where you can post stuff, right? It could be articles, it could be videos, it could be live events, whatever it is. Okay, so it's like a YouTube basically, but not only for videos, for everything. And basically it's decentralized. So everything that's posted there is on the blockchain. It's immutable. Nobody can change it. Nobody can control it. And then you actually get rewarded for the same way as a YouTuber gets money for having a video. You get paid for that. So the person who did this 15 hours ago made $695. The person who posted this 12 hours ago made $398. 3 days ago, this person posted this, a step back or 2. It's wise to recognize when it's the right time to take a step back. He made, or she made, $1,000, got some votes, comments. They have their whole system for getting paid. And some people are making their livelihood on this platform. Okay? So again, this is one platform. It's one of those coins which has a use. Now, we're not going to do fundamental analysis on it. You would have to go ahead and do it. There's a lot of reading to be done for this one specifically. There's a lot of things that go into it, and there's a lot of thinking behind it. But I'll let you do that. But what I wanted to talk about is basically the fact that we do have these platforms, right? And there's people who make their living just on that. Okay. Now, is everybody on this platform? No. Is there potential that people start using it? Is there potential that people leave a website like YouTube, for example, right? And start going there? Well, let's see. What do you need for a platform like this for users to go and use another platform? Now, I was on YouTube the other day and I was looking at some videos and I saw some people basically complaining, some of these YouTubers complaining that YouTube was demonetizing them. So the way YouTubers make money is by basically putting ads on their videos and they get a percentage of these ads. Now, there was this issue where advertisers didn't like specific videos and YouTube ended up cutting back or making a lot of these videos advertiser non-friendly. So they demonetize them. So if you had a video, they would not give you the money because they deemed that your video was either offensive or didn't respect their guidelines. So you didn't get your money. And then at one point, they just reduced everybody's returns. So a lot of people were getting really mad. Okay? And this is what happens when you have a centralized company that can make decisions. And everybody was mad, but they couldn't do anything about it because YouTube, they're in charge, right? Now, one of these YouTubers, and I posted, a bunch of them were talking about it, but this is what he had to say. And it got me to think about this.
I made this video
Actually, let's just put the sound here. Speaker. There we go.
this week. The basic thesis of the video is that YouTube doesn't do enough to support their community, that is creators on the platform. I didn't release it because I thought it was too harsh a critique. And then this morning I look at the creator app here and I saw that this travel vlog, which is the most innocuous vlog ever, it's literally me going to Indonesia to sit down with the president of Indonesia, was demonetized. So here's my kind of long and boring but critical
and he wasn't the only person
commentary
not
on
happy
YouTube
about it.
How they should do a better job.
A bunch of people were not happy about it. And this is what he
This
thought
here
about
original programming, YouTube's doing good work there. I believe we'll do better work in the future, but Even so, YouTube's spending a couple $100 million a year on original programming. Netflix is spending $7 billion. I think you can objectively say that in this facet of their business, YouTube's trying to play catch up, but this is a long play. TV, well, TV. It's the community that makes YouTube special. Community is the only thing that none of YouTube's competition has. See, community is what makes YouTube extraordinary. Community is the one thing that none of their competitors have been able to copy. It's the YouTube community that provides the armor, the body armor that YouTube needs against competition. No matter what they do, they're not going to get through this.
So basically, he was coming at the fact that why YouTube has been really good because the community's there, and if you want to go watch one of them, you can only go see them on YouTube, so you go there. But the community is getting fed up, and his point was basically a disruption can happen if there's a valid competitor that can offer a working and a very nice platform, and that doesn't have these issues. And he was literally telling YouTube, fix your stuff. Okay? So that got me to think, well, there are other ones. It's just there wasn't this migration yet. It is possible, and that system is ready, and it's working. And then, last week I'm still on YouTube, and then I see this. So then there's this other guy whose name is, I don't know what his name is. Alex Jones. So this guy is a controversial figure. I don't really know him at all, but he's controversial. He says weird stuff. Anyways, it doesn't matter what he says. YouTube came out simultaneously as Facebook and Apple, iTunes, a bunch of these medias, and they all removed him from their website simultaneously. So they all talked with each other, these different platforms, and they all removed him. So they censored him. And this is another problem that we have with these medias is censorship. So the centralized organization, the same thing we see with Facebook, where there's these problems of, are they suppressing some posts, or are they, helping liberal posts and suppressing conservative posts or whatnot? Are they pushing their agenda or their political view? And these are other issues we have with these platforms is the company gonna force their view on top of us, or is it really a company that has the platform and that's it? And censoring people and then pushing other people, that's an issue, right? So this Alex Jones guy gets banned from everywhere, and he has a huge following. It's just some people don't agree with what he says. But the thing is, this shouldn't matter for these platforms. It doesn't matter what you agree with or you don't agree with. That's an opinion, regardless of what it is, right? So everybody has to have their voice, but now they're suppressing him. So this other guy who talks about news, and I actually don't even really know him that much. It's just somebody who listens to him send it to me, and he's like, oh, look at this. This is the thing you talked to me about, because I had talked about Steemit. So this guy says basically this. This is very dangerous because they're suppressing, and we might be next on the blocking chop, or another channel, they just might close down.
Also, don't forget to put your email on our email list that we don't currently use, but we'll have as a backup, since we're most likely next on the chopping block. And also, don't forget to follow us on alternative social media platforms like steemit.com/@LukeWeAreChange, where our posts are put on the blockchain, which almost makes it virtually impossible to delete our work. Now, in short, what ultimately...
So look at that. So this guy, because of this happening, he's like, hey, you know what? We've put our stuff now on this blockchain technology that makes it impossible to delete our work because we might be next being censored. And they're scared of that. So they're migrating there. And just earlier, these other guys not being happy about YouTube demonetizing them and removing their salaries and their livelihood. And some people who were making their living on it were not able to pay rent because of this demonetization. And YouTube didn't care. So do you think they have issues, going over to another platform? No. So again, the reason why I'm talking about this is just to show that there are some applications that are working and they solve a problem. In this situation, we're solving a problem that a centralized authority can change how much you're making just like that. On the blockchain, it's set. It's a code. If this gets paid that, nobody can change it, right? Unless the community votes or there's a system for that, but it'll be democratic and it wouldn't be in that way, and you would have agreed to the protocol that gets to that, right? Nobody can just censor you and remove and decide if this goes on or if this doesn't go on, right? So there are issues that people are actually having right now that this is solving. Now, have people migrated there yet? There are people using it more and more every day. But, specifically, I haven't done all the research on Steemit. You would have to look at other things like how many coins are there, how they produce it, all of that stuff. The fundamentals is more than that. But it was just something that to open your eyes about there are these platforms that can take over other platforms, especially if one of these platforms fuck up, So basically, if something happens, you can see at one point a shift where an app or a new platform takes on a lot of new people. And as you know, with technology, these things, happen quickly. One young person gets a new application, gives it to the other, and the next thing you know it, everybody's on Instagram or on Snapchat. Just the same way, everybody gets the app and through. So what that happens, if your ears are close to the ground and you're looking at what are these projects and you find a good one and you invest, then you have huge potential. Okay, just a way of thinking. Another one, useless Ethereum token. So this one is just to talk about how many crappy and fake coins there are there, right? So there's, like we said, 70% are scams. So this guy comes out and he says, you know what? I'm going to create the world's first 100% honest ICO. So ICO, raising the funds. So it's a coin. It's a token. So he's saying you're going to give some random person on the internet money and they're going to take it and go buy some stuff with it. Probably electronics, to be honest. Maybe even a big screen television. Seriously, don't buy these tokens. All right? And he has a Reddit and Hacker News. First of its kind ICO. Let's be honest, everyone is tired of ICOs. They get hyped up for weeks and then they launch and clog up the Ethereum network for days. Coinbase goes down for a while and then investors see the new tokens lose most of their value. This ICO is going to be different. The value of this ICO transparently offers investors no value. So there will be no expectations of gains. No gains means few investors. Few investors mean few transactions. And few transactions mean no Ethereum network lag. Not to mention no depressing post on Reddit about people losing all their savings. Might be secure, definitely not audited. Guaranteed token value. So basically this guy is saying that he's creating a token and he's going to use the money and just buy himself some electronics. Because that's what a lot of these tokens were. People just in their basements creating a website, creating a white paper, takes an hour, launching the token through the Ethereum blockchain. That takes half an hour. The code is open source. It's online. I can launch it in less than an hour. It's easy. And then create a fake page with a team and say, we're going to do this and get a bunch of money. And then you lose all your money. So it was so funny that he created this token and he's like, you know what? This is a useless token. I'm going to call it useless token. You're not going to be getting anything. The coin is worth nothing and I'm going to use your money to buy some stuff. And it's hilarious. You should go through this website. Is this a scam? No, 100% transparent. You're literally giving me your money to someone on the internet and getting completely useless tokens in return. There are no white papers, no products, and no experts. It's just you, me, and your hard-earned Ether, because you pay with Ethereum, and my shopping list, right? So hilarious. And how much money did he raise? He raised 88,000 USD. Okay, and that's at today's price of Ethereum. So actually, when he raised that, this was when I looked at this when he had raised it, it was close to 200,000 USD. Now the price of Ethereum really dropped, so it's way lower, but Ether's contributes. So 310. So Ethereum was at one point at 1,200 or even more. It was 1,400 times 310. So yeah, he was almost at $500,000 of funds raised. Now it's way less. And he has even a thing here, that a counter that says enough to buy 74 televisions. These are some good televisions. So that it was so funny that people were even gave him money. Okay, and this is just, you know, to show you that there's so many scams and so many useless stuff, that a guy who made a joke about it raised all this capital, right? Because people found it so funny that they gave it to him. So you have to watch out for this stuff and not trust this. This is a joke, but like this one is, he did it as a joke, but these other coins, just don't trust a coin because it has a website. Okay, makes no sense. And that leads to the last coin on our mentioned list. Oh, this one is BitConnect. So BitConnect is a Ponzi scheme. Ponzi scheme is basically a system that gets in investors and then has them refer people. And when they refer people, they get a percentage of what these people put in, a percentage on them, and a percentage, and these guys have to refer other people and they get percentage on the people they refer. And the person on top gets a percentage of them and the other people, and they keep making percentages off of everybody. And it's a Ponzi scheme. Throughout history, it has been done 1,000 times. I don't know how many times, and it never worked. The pyramid always crumbles. The way they had it, and the funny part, like, we all know Ponzi schemes don't work. We all know that. And some people who do Ponzi scheme, they try to like draw it out in a different way to tell you, you do this, it's not a Ponzi scheme, but you know, you kind of figure it's a Ponzi scheme. They actually drew a pyramid. And it's like literally, they're literally saying it's a Ponzi scheme. They're saying you're making off of him, off of him, off of him. And what is their purpose? What are they doing? Well, what they said they had is they had a robot, a trading robot that generates 1% a day, every day. I think minimum 1%, it could go up to 2%, but something like 1%. That does not exist. Okay? There's no robot in the world. Okay? I've coded a bunch of automated robots for stocks and for crypto. And I've seen so many trading robots. They're extremely hard to build and they're not very scalable. You can't do them with enormous amounts of money. And the profits they make are not secured. You cannot guarantee. What happens on the day you lose money, right? Because you do lose money on several days. Everybody who knows anything about finance knows that's unrealistic. There's no robot that does 1% a day. So you weren't actually paying people from the profits of your trading robots. You're paying people through the funds of other people who keep investing, right? And that's a regular Ponzi scheme. Now, people in the crypto world, I don't know for what reason, couldn't understand that. They kept investing in it. And they pushed the price up and up and up. And even though, you know, I've had people take my classes in-house, we had at the office, where there was this coin, because this coin doesn't, it exists, but the Ponzi broke. It crashed. It broke, right? But before it broke, I had students who came into my class and they were like, yeah, I have it. And I was like, well, get out of it. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's going to bust. No, I've been making money with it. And I've got my family and my friends. I'm like, oh my God, no, get out. And, you know, specifically one person was like, no, it's great, blah, blah. And then guess what? It went to zero. So this person lost all his money. And the worst is, you know, people bring in their friends and their family. So they all lost their money. There was a bunch of videos online explaining why it's a Ponzi scheme. And for some reason, people still invested in it. So don't believe things that are too good to be true. Okay. Now, this is what happened to BitConnect. So BitConnect, by the way, is it not there anymore? Yeah, here it is. BitConnect was in the top 10. It was here. It was part of the 10 biggest cryptocurrencies. It was higher than some of these amazing projects. So some people who bought it made a shitload of money on it going up, but they didn't sell, so they lost all of it anyways, right? But all of this to say that a shitty, crappy scam can make crazy amounts of money, but in the end, it will go to zero. That's a guaranteed fact, right? So if I click on BitConnect here, now it's rank 1000 something. This is basically the price of BitConnect. It went up from, again, how much did it start at? Price 0. Wow. It started at 0.00001 cent. So it's not a cent. It's not 1/10 of a cent. It's 100th of a cent. And I'm not going to do any... sorry. So that's in BTC. Sorry. That's the value in BTC. Whew. Thank God. That would have been too much. 16 cents. That's what it started at. Wow. I got scared that if it started at that amount, that would have been ridiculous. So it started at 16 cents. Regardless. That's still... And then it went all the way up. And that's in what? 2000. So January 2017. In 1 year, went from 16 cents to over $400. Let's do a quick calculation. $400 divided by 16 cents. 2,500 times your capital. $1,000, 2.5 million. But then went all the way back to 30 cents now, right? I don't know who's trading it right now. There's people who buy and sell it, but it's done. It was exposed as a scam, and the price went from $4.10 to a few dollars, and then to being dead, right? So the thing is, not a lot of people buy it there. These are basically, in the beginning, people who just knew about it or something like that. People started buying here, and here and here and here, and somebody bought here. Somebody bought some at $4.20. Like, this price is here. There was a buyer, and now they own none of it. And that crash was true, right? So you woke up and your money was all gone. But you know what? It's kind of your fault for investing in something like this, because when you're putting in money, you have to study. You have to look at stuff, and when you research BitConnect, you could see the word scam attached to it everywhere, right? And who's the guy who's... I think I put it there. This guy, Carlos Matos. This guy was the funniest guy, and there's a lot of memes that go around on him. And everybody in the industry, you know, if you're on Telegram and you're sending pictures, a lot of people are going to be sending pictures of him because such a funny guy. This is the guy who would promote it. That was like their mascot, okay? And I have a video of him here, just so you see how hilarious this guy is.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. What's up, BitConnect?
So they used to have these like...
Hey, everybody. My name is Carlos Matos, and I am coming from New York City, New York. Let me tell you guys that I am so excited. I am so happy. I am really so thrilled to be right now sharing this amazing, glorious, super and exciting moment of my life with all of you guys. And let me tell you that we are really changing the world as we know it. The world is not anymore the way it used to be. No. BitConnect! Wow!
If you want to invest in something like this, like, you should lose your money. Like, it makes no sense that you would see this and be like, oh yeah, I want to invest. If that's the guy I want to stand behind. So, like, you know, is screaming BitConnect or yeah, you know, what we look for to invest in something? Talk to me about the technology. Tell me something. If you listen to Vitalik Buterin on Ethereum and see what he's saying, it's different than what this guy is saying.
BitConnect! And let me tell you that I am actually earning around $1,400 on an everyday basis, 7 days a week. What?
So invest to make money, not because it's a great project, not because of it. You know, if it's like a CEO comes out and says, "Oh, invest in my company. I make this much money." No, they tell you, this is the project we have, this is the product we had, it's amazing, it's better than competitors. What is he saying?
I am right now independently, financially independently. I am saying
I think he means to say financially independent.
to so many people who said that this was going to be a con artist game, that this was going to be a scammer game. Hey, you're going to lose all your money. My wife still doesn't believe in me.
Oh man, I wonder if his wife left him. I'd really like pay good money to have somebody track this guy down and like interview him now. But you know, when you see this, does that make you want to invest in that coin? No, obviously not, right? And this is not the only coin that's just a scam, that's just something to make money. You know, there's some coins that come out and you look at them going to the moon. What's the project? It's basically how can we make this coin go up as much as we can. So it's not gonna work out, right? It won't work out. You want to invest in solid projects, because when there's a crash, and this is what happened when the market started going down a bit, these guys bust. They'll go to zero, right? But the good projects are gonna go up. You know, if you look at the tech bubble for stocks in 2000, when the tech bubble happened, there was a lot of companies that were just shell companies. They had nothing. When the market crashed, they went to zero. So you could have invested in one of them and you would have lost all your money. Or if you selected the right stock, like Apple, well, guess what? After the crash, it recovered extremely well and exploded. I think we can see, I don't know if if we can find the video of that. Apple tech bubble crash, or a picture. Where can we see? Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is a picture of the 2000, this is Amazon? Okay, well, Amazon, I guess. So this is the price of Amazon. When there was the crash in 2000, all tech stocks dropped huge. And Amazon dropped with them. Same thing with these other companies. Okay, these really good tech companies. But then what? Skyrocketed, right? And rightfully so, right? Rightfully so. And the charts would look the same for other stocks that were actually good. But if you look for other companies that were actually just shitty, they went to zero. And that's what happened here. The market cleanses itself of these bad coins. Now, it's your responsibility as an investor to do your research. If there's stocks of scams, take it out. If this is how they do their promotion, like if you look at their community, the public interest, and it's all about making money in that way, you take it off. So you saw these points that we had in our framework. This one, first thing I look at, like the community, off, out, project, out. I wouldn't even go to the next step and look at anything else. I'm already out, right? Because there's so many projects, why would I even invest in that? So a big part of generating income is not about trying or about investing, growing your capital. It's not about hitting for the fences. Okay? You don't want to swing for the fences. If you swing for the fences, what happens is you end up striking out. So people who want to come in, and especially in cryptocurrencies, a lot of people come into cryptocurrencies, they want to make the most amount of money as fast as possible. Well, guess what? You're going to be swinging for the fences every time. You're going to be trying to make the most amount of money every time, and you're going to be getting into bad, risky positions because you're going to be following what other people who have the same mindset are saying, and you're going to strike out and you're going to lose all your capital. So you have to not have this mindset and not only invest to grow your funds, but to preserve your capital. Because when the market drops, if you preserve your capital, then it's easy to keep growing. But if you lose all of it, then what's next? You know, when I started, I guess in this lecture we're just rambling on a lot, so I guess we'll just ramble on some more. When I started investing, I had very little money to invest with. I think I have a picture here. Guess we're getting. Let's see. Here. So in 2011 is the first time my trading account, because when I was trading stocks, as I still am now, but I mean, when I first, was really active in it, my account hit $5,000. And I posted a picture of it. I was super happy. That's 2011. So I had actually started with $1,000 because I didn't have more money. And I traded and I got good and I learned and I became very active and I turned my 1,000 to 5,000 and I was super happy about it. Now, in stocks, it's harder to make money than in cryptos because the movements are way smaller. So that was great, doing 5 times your capital. But then I lost all of it because I wanted to make so much. So I ended up losing that, and I've learned in the hard way that capital preservation is extremely important. And then I actually went and I worked at a professional trading firm in Montreal in 2012, where I actually traded their capital and started learning from there. But all in all, to say that what I've learned is you are always going to have this market attracts a lot of people who want to come in to make a quick buck. And that's why I got into it in the beginning, right? That's why I got into it in the beginning, because I wanted to make quick money. But it doesn't work like that. And if you're trying to force things, and that's in every other business, just investing or trading, it's in everywhere else, it ends up not working. And you end up not only not getting what you want, but not getting anything, or even losing. But if you do it the right way, you do end up getting what you want. It just takes a bit longer, right? So don't follow anybody on any social platform who's promising to make you huge gains very quickly. Just buy this subscription or buy these alerts or buy these signals and you'll make a shitload of money. No, you're not interested by the money. You're interested by something else, by being a great investor. And making good money is an outcome of being a great investor. Right? So as somebody, the same way that I look at sports, right? If you walk into a soccer game and all you want to do is score goals because you want to win, you're never going to win. Why? Because you're never going to go on defense. You're not going to pass the ball. You're not going to follow the strategy. You're always going to be shooting. But if your game plan is to play the best soccer that you can, then you're probably going to end up winning. Because you're going to pass the ball when you have to, you're going to go on defense when you have to, you're going to follow the game plan. And it's the same thing in investing. Don't go into this by trying to make the most money, and go into this by being like, okay, I want to be a great investor. How does a great investor think? What does he do? And I'm going to do that. And don't think of the money, and the money by itself comes in. And that's the same thing people in every industry say. Don't focus on the money, focus on the craft, focus on being good at it, and that comes by itself. And this is really, something that, has impacted me negatively when I started, and only when I shifted my way of thinking and removing the money part of it and thinking more about doing the right things, that I saw money coming in by itself, because it didn't drive my motives. My motives were driven by doing the right thing for what I was doing. So that was a bit of a ramble, but I guess we covered a few subjects that I wanted to cover. For example, Steemit or other coins that have a platform that can work pretty well. And then the funny part about having a lot of scams and somebody launching any ICO that they want. And then something like BitConnect, that it is a scam. And even though it is a scam, it is there and it was in the top 10. So don't just tell yourself, because this is in the top 10, or because this is on a few exchanges, or because this is X or Y, or because it has a partner, that it's legit. No, still have to do your research and avoid losing a big chunk of your capital. Okay, so I think that does it, and I'll see you guys in the next lecture.